Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Chanel, and I feel called to tell you about my testimony when it comes to moving or literally anything that God tell you He's about to do for you that seems nearly impossible. So, the key thing about what I'm about to tell you is faith and how important it is. And the first thing we're going to talk about is a dream that he gave me, I don't remember ago, about me having a house that was going to be owned by me, and that I'm just going to explain the dream. So me and my partner was riding down a road, and we could see this little house that we was going to, and it was a little isolated in a weird area surrounded by water. It was kind of murky and brown, and just it didn't look like it was in the best place. And when we got there, we didn't judge it. We didn't judge it at all. We didn't think like, oh, this too small, this too this, or any of that. We took it for what it was, and when we went inside of it, we immediately started working on it. We didn't waste no time to critique anything. We just started taking floors out and doing all of that. And I believe at that point I asked God to tell me if he was having me move, because possibly at the time I was already living somewhere that I didn't want to be. And yeah, we're gonna get to that later. So next thing we're gonna talk about is how I was homeless for 2 months back in, what was that, May and June. So was that 2 months? Oh yeah, it was 2 months. So we was living in a car for a little bit, and sometimes hotels, and we also was working, and we had to save everything we had. And we was using this little program called Urban League that helps you pay your deposit and sometimes first month's rent. And we definitely didn't have that at the time, so it was a blessing that we even was able to be approved by that, because I personally am young and I didn't have no credit or anything to my name at all, but he did. So he did most of the talking and all the arrangements, which I was glad for, because I just wanted to leave where I was from, and I was willing to do anything to get out of where I was. And we ended up 6 hours away and really far from home. Well, was home. And we just wasn't used to what we was dealing with. It was the weather, it was super hot, and staying in a car is not ideal when it comes to that. And there was mosquitoes and people walking around. I just didn't feel safe. And it was extremely vulnerable, because I had to use the restroom so much at some point, and I could not wait at all. Like, it was about 10 seconds or it's going to be an accident. And me and him had never been that vulnerable with each other at all, and it was like the worst time ever. And we had to keep stopping places so I can use the restroom, and at work I had to keep going. It was just embarrassing. And it was random. That I never had to deal with it. But I think it was because I had to sit in the car all day, every day, because that was all we could do. Like, our first job wasn't a job. It was like DoorDash and Uber Eats, because that was all we could do until we eventually was able to get jobs. And we weren't getting paid that much at all. And it was like literally just enough to go by. We couldn't get food that you could warm up, because we was in a car, and we would have to keep going to like gas stations and truck stops to be able to find a microwave or get a hotel. That'll take all our money. it was rough. So we was eating a lot of junk food, like no real food whatsoever, and we was eating from the jobs we was at, bringing food to each other. So we had just enough to live. Like in the wilderness, when the Israelites had to eat manna and, come up off of water, that was what we was dealing with. We was in the wilderness and it was rough. It was rough. I could see why they was acting how they was acting, because that was me. It was me. I was like, God, what is this? I don't want to do it. Why you sitting here? I'm not gonna lie, I didn't mind what was going on, because I just wanted to leave and I felt free. So homeless or not, it was okay, but it sucked. So I wasn't complaining enough to where I wanted to go back, but I was for sure complaining. And then eventually I reached my breaking point and I made this prayer. I was like, Lord, I cannot take another day like this. I wanna stop going to the gym just so I can take a shower. I really just need my own place. I can't take this no more. I'm literally losing my mind. I was losing it. And it was like, because how frustrated we was always clashing, especially me. Like, imagine living in a car and being on your cycle. Yeah. You can't like comfort yourself whatsoever because you just cramped up in this car with all your luggage, and it just was too much. But then we end up getting approved by the apartment, and we also had to wait to get approved by the Urban League, and it took a hot minute, and it was down to the last day. But that was when God was testing my faith and see how long I could hold on. And right on the last day, they told me we was approved and that we could start moving in. And it was the best day of our lives at the time. And that was July 12th. We moved in, and it was nice until it wasn't. So honestly, that apartment, it wasn't the best place, but it was a good start. Eventually, as we started getting more things to our names, getting a little more income, we got new jobs, and the apartment started falling apart. We was ready to move. We always knew we wasn't gonna stay there because it just wasn't for us. It was just a studio apartment, and elevator wasn't working. So we was on the top floor, 16th, and we had to take the stairs. One time, I had to take this really, really heavy box full of canned goods up all them steps. And I had to take my laundry up them stairs from the basement. And yeah. And everybody who was living there was always angry. And it's just, I don't like being surrounded by a lot of people. So it was overwhelming. And I was just ready to go. But I met this lady at my job, very nice lady, and she's now my friend to this day. And she had, okay, first off, I'm real antisocial. I don't talk to that many people, and you won't see me approach just anybody. But for some reason, I did to her, and I was just like, hey, how you doing? Good morning. How you feeling? And every day I was doing that. For some reason, I even questioned my own self. And eventually she started approaching me, and we started hanging together. And so one day, I don't know how this topic came to be, but she asked me like if I knew someone who was interested in getting this house from one of her husband's friends. And I was like, really? And she was just describing the house to me and how it was nice. It had a basement. Oh, that basement part is a necessity, because one of the days when we was homeless, it was a tornado, and we was in the truck, and we had to get locked up in Pilot one time, and they kicked us out after the sirens went off, even though the tornado was very much still active. It was just, yeah. And another time we got locked up in Gam Exchange because the tornado came out of nowhere. And you don't get a good warning of a tornado. It just happens. So, yeah, basement was a necessity. And when she said that, my ears perked. And it wasn't really in our budget, so I wasn't sure if I wanted it or not. But I asked my man, I was like, hey, what do you think about this? Because we both discussed that. We had a budget already planned. But this just wasn't it. But surprisingly, he was like, okay, we can give it a try. And I was like, well, I guess that basement got him too. And eventually, time went by. We didn't really obsess over it because it was just a thought. And, couple weeks, months, not that many months. I'm going to say 2 months because it's only been 2 months. A couple weeks went by, and at first we didn't see what it looked like because she didn't remember the address and all that stuff. And it's been a long time since she even been at the house. And one day she showed it to me, and I was like, that don't look how I imagined. Because the way she described it was as if it was a mansion. Like, I'm thinking like, ooh, we about to be rich. Biggest house in the neighborhood. Mama about to be proud. And when I seen it, I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I am a visual learner. You can't just tell me something because I'm not going to imagine it correctly. And it's not that I was disappointed. It's that my mind was imagining something totally different. And it immediately brought me back to reality. So, yeah. Then, we started taking it serious because we was ready to go. And eventually the manager at that apartment got fired and stuff started to change immediately. People was more and more angry. Used to run about all that negative energy all day. Neighbors loud and rowdy early in the morning. It was just too much. And there was a flood one time. Luckily not on our floor because we all the way at the top. But water was going down all the stairs. Elevator didn't work. We had to walk down the stairs, the wet stairs. And I was going to work that time. Yeah, rough. And yeah, we reached our breaking point. Almost everybody at that apartment reached their breaking point. And eventually, they ended up picking us to get the house. And we did the information. And even though we did all that, again, it wasn't in our budget, but God did a lot of things for us. A lot of, lucky, and just, I don't even know why he would do that for us. Because I feel like I'm a troublemaker, but he shows love to me all the time. And I was just worrying all the time because I just felt like this wasn't going to happen because we couldn't afford it. And the whole termination fee was outrageous. It costed more than the deposit and the rent here combined. And I was like, why? And I felt like they was trying to rob me. Like, we weren't even supposed to be paying all that because they fired like all the crew that was there before the manager got replaced and brought more people. They fired everybody. And the person who got fired told me a price that the other person told me was different. He told me something that was cheaper, and then the newer staff member told me something that wasn't. But then the system gave me an even bigger price, and I went to talk to them in the office, and they wasn't really helping. By that time, the other guy who told me the cheap price was fired, so nobody was really trying to help me for real. And at that point, I really started getting nervous because we got to pay that. And I don't like owing people, and I didn't want to be in debt. I didn't want to do none of that. And, it was so overwhelming, and I was struggling financially real bad. And God had gave me some scripture that I'm about to read to y'all. So, it is 2 Samuel chapter, 9 through 11. Actually, no, I'm just gonna read all this that I got highlighted. I got it highlighted, okay? The words is tiny, and I have to really look for the numbers. And don't come at me for not writing it down. You right. But anyways, now I will make your name great, like the names of the greatest men on earth, and I will provide a place for my people Israel, and will plant them so that they can have a home of their own and no longer be disturbed. Wicked people will not oppress them anymore as they did at the beginning and have done ever since the time I appointed leaders over my people Israel. I will also give you rest from all your enemies. The Lord declares to you that the Lord himself will establish a house for you. So, I'm not going to read everything that's out, but just that part specifically is what really stood out to me. And it gave me something to have faith about, but my faith was not good. But like they said, all you need is faith of a mustard seed. And I believe that's what I had, because the rest of it was down. But just tiny bit of faith. And I feel like that counts. So, because it obviously paid off. Because I knew I couldn't afford it. I knew I couldn't. But I also knew that he himself told me that that house was mine. He told me that. And I was like, Lord, even though it don't look like it, I know you told me that. And a while ago, I watched these videos where there's this woman, two different people. And one of them is Latoya Okia, and the other one is Profit Productions. And they both kept repeating to not go by sight, but by faith. And I had to keep reminding myself of that. And, it was always hard for me to remember scripture because I didn't study that good. And I also never stuck that good. I wasn't even good in school. So, yeah. And you have to keep telling me for it to really stick. And I had to keep reminding myself, I don't know how you about to do it, Lord, but I just know you can do it. That's what I was saying. And what we thought was going to be the solution was not the solution, because tax season was coming, and it was like, oh snap, we got a plan. The taxes didn't come. Nope. It was like, what we finna do now? I don't know. But Lord said we finna get it, so we just gonna have to sit and wait. And you know what happened? I went straight to the manager and told him that I did not like that price that he was offering me. And he definitely dropped it down more than what the cheap version was, and it saved us a ton of money. And in that moment, my heart really dropped down to the floor. And I was like, I was silenced, honestly, because, like, are you serious? Like, I was in shock, in awe. I had nothing to say. Because, like, it was something specific that they was telling me, that no matter how big the numbers are, no matter how much they try to charge you for something, they was being very specific. And it was like, no matter how it looked, God gonna make it work out in your favor. And I was like, I hope so, because it's not looking too good. And he did exactly that. And I used to worry, like, there's always false prophets on here giving me false hope. I always worried about that, but I trusted them, because everything they told me happened. You know what I'm saying? And I like to believe that, ain't nothing finna come to me for no reason. I already told Lord, don't let me waste my time. Don't let me waste it. I still do it. It be me, It's all about, discernment. You should know what season you in. So you should know what not to entertain. Like, for instance, I've been stopped looking at that husband stuff. I've been stopped because I'm already with mine. We ain't married. He get on my nerves, but I already know that I can't get away from him. And, yeah, that's over. Ain't no sense of entertaining that, Now you gotta do the work. So, and also, if you already know that your testimony could have been like this, you about to move, you already moved, Ain't no reason you should still entertain that. Unless you like me and had to move twice. Like, twice. In like the same year. Who does that? But you know what? Don't let me tell you what to do. But you should use your own discernment and ask him what your season is. You should already know. I ain't gonna tell you what you should know. Sometimes you just don't. But you shouldn't. Ain't no reason for you to be watching 10,000 videos a day telling you what you need to do. At that point, you the problem. You shouldn't need somebody to tell you what you need to be doing. No, you got this. You got this. Don't have somebody constantly coming to you every day giving you words. You over here got these people working overtime. But anyways, it's probably me. Yeah, I got them working overtime. Yeah. Not saying that I watch them every day, but I sure be hearing people repeat stuff. Because, you know, whatever. But anyways, that was the breakthrough. It all changed the price by far. He cut it in half, less than half, you know. And I was very happy, very excited. And that was when the joy came back. Somebody got their speakers loud. Now that, you know, the house is ours, it's everything that I've ever wanted. I always wanted a bay window since I was a kid. And I actually got it. I was wondering when I moved into the apartment, God told me that, you know, he got me. You want that bay window? You got it. But it wasn't one in that apartment. And I was like, I thought you said I would. But nah, this your waiting room right here. That's what that is. And it was literally the size of a room. You know how studio apartments look. And yeah. I got it. So that's telling me I'm about to be here forever. And I don't own this house. But maybe soon, you know. He wouldn't tell me no lie. And one girl told me that the house that I was going to live in would have a lot of windows in it. I don't remember her name. I think it was like Nicole or something. You know what? I'm not even going to say that because I don't know. And I don't want to throw the wrong name out there. But it does have plenty of windows out here. Pretty windows. Pretty windows. And the kitchen is a nice size. I like to cook. I like my space. I need a lot of cabinets, a lot of counters. I need all that. I don't need no little kitchen. That was the kitchen I had in the apartment, and I had no room to do nothing. If you know, like baking, rolling dough, you need room. And that wasn't offering that. Especially with all the appliances that you would have in there. You know, you ain't got no room. I needed that. And I got that. Also, I do not like glass top stoves because just why? Who idea was it? And I got a gas stove now. Good. And they heat up fast. Like, I used to be scared of them gems because I felt like I was going to blow the house up with those. But if you know what you're doing, then you shouldn't even worry about it. But it does keep me from being able, when I do have kids, I'm probably going to have them learn how to cook at a later age just to reduce the risk of them blowing the house up. Yeah, I don't want my stove getting messed up. So let me stop talking about that. But y'all, when God tell you he about to do something for you, he gonna do it. And no matter how impossible it looks or how it looks like it won't happen, it will. And you may be like me. He loved to make it dramatic and wait till the last second. Just to show you that he's in control. You know, like the Egyptians when they was terrorizing the Israelites, you know, they felt like they was being lied to. Why are we still here? You told us we was finna escape, but they came right back to come get us. And right at that last minute, they got swooped. You know what I'm saying? Done. And that's just what it was. He loved to, there's things that he knows that you don't. And he liked to do things in details. Should I call him a perfectionist? I don't know. But we can call it that. Until everything complete, then you're going to get what you need. But he also said not to tell him to rush him. I don't know which one it was. I ain't going to tell you should know what it is because I don't. But it was saying don't tell him to rush because, you know, He know what he doing. All right. I'm making myself look so bad. But like I told you, it's hard for me to keep it in my chamber. But I know what it is, but I can't make it out. Give me some time, and I got you. You know. But yeah, he told you, he got you. He got you. You know, and this all just builds your faith, and it gives you a testimony, something to tell people, to encourage people who are going through the same thing as you. You know, I wouldn't imagine at my age that I would even have a house to my name. I'm young, you know, super young. And yeah. Do you hear my music? Oh no. I ain't really making this for no money, for real. I'm just not trying to deny my gifts and end up in trouble. So I'm giving y'all this. I don't care if I get copyrighted or whatever. That's if y'all hear the music. I hope not. But if you do, it is what it is. But yeah, that was what the testimony is and why faith is important and why you should just keep hanging on to what he told you. Focus on the promise and not the situation. Walk by faith and not by sight. Oh, I forgot a really, really, really important thing. That the enemy is going to be after your head real bad. I'm talking distractions after distractions. You wouldn't even think it was a distraction. Like, God told you, no, let me just tell you my situation. I'm not even going to tell you y'all. He told me I was going to move, but I was going through relationship problems. My job was getting on my nerves. It was peak season at my job. It was killing me. I was working every single day, and my man was getting on my nerves. Everybody getting on my nerves. It was rough. It was rough, and the house just couldn't stay clean for some reason. No matter what I did, something magically happened. And me, I hate when it's not clean. It does something to my soul. Like when your like room is cluttered or whatever, it clutters your mind. You know, it's a representation of that, and it's kind of like you manifesting that for real. Even if you was originally never cluttered in there, because your room is, you finna be now. And cleanliness brings you closer to God, and that did it for me. I was angry all the time. I was irritated because I felt like nobody was trying to help me. Help me clean this house. Every time we did it, it got right back bad. And we had a car situation and money problems, problems after problems after problems. And I was just so distracted, you know. But God had pulled me to the side a long time ago. I'm on a fast right now. I know, social media fast. If I was on social media in these past 2 months, then I would have been cooked. So, what today is, I think it's day 46. Today's day 46. And all that time, I had no social media, none of that. And he told me to be still and focus on him. And on day 2 was when he told me that I was going to get that house. And I moved in here 3 days ago. So then it took 42 days of me being in the wilderness. And it was rough. Oh, something important is he told me not to move on any day other than February the 7th. And I ain't gonna say all my life, these past 3.5 years that I've been on my walk with God, personally, I've been seeing the number 27 everywhere. And why? Don't know. But that's just been the number he used to tell me, hey, I'm here. I heard that. I see what you're doing. That's just been that number following me. And for that to be the day that I move in this house, it's very ironic, very funny. Like, me trying to be funny. But he told me that he would be a liar if I moved in on any other day than that. And I listened, because at first I didn't want to do that. I wanted to move in on the 6th, but my man told me, hey, we should move in on this day because you're going to be off work. I'm going to be on my last day and yada yada. I'm like, no. Then later on, God told me that I need to be obedient and listen to him. And I did. And then I had realized why he told me that. And I was like, oh, nice. And yeah, another important distraction that happened to me was something financial. I was being impulsive and I wanted a cat. And I had no business spending all that money on it, but I did. And just for me not to get it, it was a scam. Yeah. The enemy got me. I don't even want to say it was the enemy. It was me. It was me doing what I wanted to do and not getting what's the word I'm looking for? Let's start with an I. But I didn't tell God I was to do that. I didn't do none of that. I did what I wanted to do. And we needed that money. I spent it all. And I didn't get it back. I didn't even get what I paid for. So just take me as an example. Don't do what I did. Don't try to buy nothing knowing you about to move or you about to do something big, major. It could be you about to have a baby or something and you decide that you want to get you a Corvette or something like that, knowing how much money you about to be spending on that baby. And now you gotta go look on, I don't know, Facebook Market. That's not a bad place to find something, but you can't get nothing brand new. Now you gotta find stuff and work extra hard to get something that you could have got. And if I tell you I had that money that I had, I wouldn't even blink to get to this point. But then again, me spending all that did make my testimony better. So no excuses. Because then I would have had some money to get some furniture up in here. Oh yeah, this is the house. And this is the house that I seen in that dream. The only difference is we ain't sitting on no water, no nasty water. And I love it. I'm happy where I am, and I'm glad all that happened. Even though the situation was super hard, terrifying, and just confusing, it all worked out. So, I don't want to keep rambling. I have ADHD, and I had to write down the order of how I'm supposed to explain everything to you, and I still found a way to ramble in between. So it's probably best I go ahead and end it before y'all be here all day. And yeah, I did pretty good today for my first video, even though I have anxiety. I don't have anxiety. We better than this. I'm fighting through it, but I always record myself talking. That's the crazy part. But okay, let me go ahead and end it because I'm rambling. But thank y'all and thank God, and I pray that this goes to the right person. Honestly, it don't matter who it goes to, because the purpose of this was not to tell you that you about to move, but to tell you to walk by faith and not by sight, and to trust God and know that he's in control and that he got your back no matter what it looks like. So reach everybody. That's what you need to do. So yeah, I just pray that you don't be distracted in times like this, because it's getting crazy out here. Don't nobody needs to be in no place they don't need to be, especially not no big places. Like, I don't know, but I need to end this video before I start talking because I don't stop. The video already long enough. Thank y'all.